Joined now by Senator Tom Cotton, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, an Army veteran. Cotton served overseas in both Iraq and Afghanistan before being elected to the House and then the Senate. Senator Cotton, thank you for being here this morning. You heard the president say this was a spectacular military success. He said obliterated is what has happened to the Iranian nuclear program. What is your sense? It sounded to me from Vice President Vance that it hasn't been thoroughly destroyed.
Well, I think we heard from General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that obviously we have a few days left of battle damage assessment, but there's no doubt that because of the president's decisive action, we have severely damaged Iran's critical nuclear infrastructure, which is what the president has said he would do for 10 years if we thought Iran was getting close to a nuclear weapon. Remember, this is a regime in Iran that has terrorized Americans for 46 years. For 25 years, American presidents have worried about them getting a nuclear weapon, have said that they'd never be allowed to. Finally, President Trump has taken decisive action to ensure that they are not going to get nuclear weapons on his watch.
So what should we be prepared for in terms of a response from Iran? As you said, they've sponsored terrorism for nearly half a century. I mean, what should we be prepared for?
I think we have to be prepared for Iran to retaliate. And I join the president in his warning to the supreme leader of Iran that if he targets Americans, the military force he will see will make last night look like child's play. We have troops in the region. Iran has targeted Americans around the world in Marine barracks in Beirut, in barracks in Saudi Arabia. They've targeted embassies of countries around the world. For all we know, they may have gotten sleeper cells into the country during Joe Biden's wide open border. So the threats are serious, and we take them seriously. President Trump has no higher priority, as do I, than the safety of the American people. And again, the supreme leader and the Ayatollahs in Iran need to understand that President Trump means business. They have a chance to sue for peace here, to dismantle whatever remnants of their nuclear program remain, and to continue to actually survive. Because we haven't targeted the supreme leader, we haven't targeted their energy infrastructure, we haven't targeted other critical infrastructure. That's an implicit message that Iran still has things that they hold dear that neither the United States nor Israel has struck. Iran needs to heed President Trump's warning.
And if Iran retaliates, should the United States target the supreme leader?
I won't rule any single target in or out, but I'll say that President Trump was very clear in his warning last night to Iran that last night will look like child's play if they target Americans. Clearly, President Trump means business. The Ayatollahs understand that now. He was not bluffing. He does not bluff. And there are still numerous targets that Iran holds very dear. They should not target Americans.
But it sounds like what you're saying, and frankly what the president said last night, is that we may be on the beginning of this, not the end of it.
Well, that's really up to Iran at this point.
But given Iran's track record, I mean, it's hard to imagine they're suddenly going to come out and say, okay.
In 2020, President Trump killed Iran's terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah.
Iran did target one of our bases, but frankly, they telegraphed what they were going to do, and it led to minor concussive injuries. No Americans were killed. Likewise, in the 1980s, when Iran was targeting naval ships in the Persian Gulf, Ronald Reagan sank half of their navy. That did not lead to war. It led to peace, not just with their targeting of Americans, but actually the 8-year Iran-Iraq war. So my message to the supreme leader is look at the lessons of history. Do not tempt fate. Do not target Americans. Heed Donald Trump's warning.
Let me ask you the famous question Petraeus asked at the beginning of the Iraq war. How does this end? I mean, how does this end? I mean, we're going to have retaliation. How does it end?
Well, it was really up to Iran to decide how it ends here. President Trump made clear last night he wants it to be the end of the matter. We have severely damaged their nuclear infrastructure. We have set back for a very long time their aspirations to get nuclear weapons that they can then use to threaten the United States and our friends around the world. So the ball is in Iran's court here. If they are willing to sue for peace and to give up their nuclear ambitions and to not target Americans, then that can be the end of it.
Is ultimately the only way to be safe from the Iranian threat, in your view, because I've heard you talking about this for a decade now, is regime change? Does the regime have to go?
That's not President Trump's military objective. In fact, frankly, it wasn't Prime Minister Netanyahu's objective either. He said the objective here was twofold: to eliminate their nuclear program and to eliminate their ballistic missile threat to the United States, to Israel, to our friends in the region. But we are not pursuing regime change. We are not trying to put any troops on the ground into Iran. We are trying to eliminate their nuclear weapons program, and by destroying 3 critical nuclear facilities, we've taken huge steps in that direction.
But let me read you what you back in 2017. So this is 8 years ago. You said the policy of the United States should be regime change in Iran. And then you said this: I don't see how anyone can say America can be safe as long as you have in power a theocratic despotism. Has your view changed?
Well, as long as Iran's leaders continue to terrorize Americans after these strikes, then no, America won't be safe from the Iran threat. That's the point that President Trump made last night. We're trying to ensure our safety.
But you don't believe the
through
policy
deterrence.
should be regime change now?
We're not going to invade Iran. We're not going to try to topple their government or try to replace it with a new government. As Prime Minister Netanyahu said, the Iranian leaders are so hated by their own people and have so failed to deliver positive results for their own people that might be the end of this, but that's not the American policy. And frankly, it's not the Israeli policy either. It is to it is to destroy their nuclear program and to eliminate the missile threat to the United States and our friends.
It's been a deeply unpopular regime in its own country for a long time. Senator Cotton, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up, the top Democrat on the House